Live on Facebook.
All right, we're all set. Here we go. Get our theme music going. Hello and welcome to Get Real with Real Estate here on KWNG 106, our first show for the month of March. Action Jack Colwell with you, and along with me is Mr. Real Estate himself, the one and only Jameson Melbye from RE/MAX Results. Well, Jameson, somehow we survived February and all of that snow and cold. Here we are into March, and boys, it changed. Not much.
Yeah.
Not yet, anyways.
Not the spring we're hoping for yet. So,
but it will.
Yep.
Spring's eternal here on the show. So I work spring in there again with Spring's Eternal. Now, Jameson, speaking of spring, let's get rolling with the show today. When does the spring market typically kick into gear?
Okay, so we typically see houses coming on the market early March all the way through May. And then the showings start picking up mid-March into April. Usually we're following snow melting and things like that. This year, with the record snow we have, it's unbelievable how many showings we do have right now. Houses are going pending pretty quick. If you remember last fall, people were predicting doom and gloom. We're heading into a recession. And I was kind of saying, pump brakes. I don't think we are. And so far we're having a great start to the spring here. So no concerns heading into the spring market.
Interest rates, let's take a look at those. Up, down, pretty much steady Eddie. What's your take?
Yep, so again, across December, January, February, we've seen rates actually going down, not up. So that was another prediction that interest rates were going to continue trending upward. Therefore, it would slow down the buyer market, things like that. The interest rates are going down. We're seeing more showings, more offers, things like that. So like I said, the stats and the trends that we're seeing definitely are very positive for the spring market.
Jameson, here's something that's very, very topical with our weather. Ice dams, snow on the roof, a lot of that. Am I in trouble?
Yeah, so what you want to do is watch out for those ice dams, because what happens is it traps water between the ice and the shingles, and then water backs up into your house. So I was not happy about having to have ice dams removed on my house. I've owned it 6 years. This is the first time I've had an ice dam like that. And if you look around Red Wing, most of the town has ice dams. It's just a problem that happened with the way the weather pattern hit, the cold, the hot, things like that. Tons of ice dams. And the contractors that are doing it are out there. They're working long days. They're steaming the crap out of these ice dams to get them off. And what happens is if you don't take care of it, you're going to have wet insulation, you're going to have wet walls, things like that. So it might cost you $300, $600, $800 to get these ice dams removed, but it's going to save you a lot of money in interior restoration if you let it go. So definitely, get on the list. I know that these guys are booked out. I have a client that secured a spot. I think they're going to be done next week. But really, really, really important to get those ice dams off.
All right, there we go. Now, if I've had ice dams, Jameson, do I need to disclose this when the time comes to sell or what have you?
Right, so the seller's disclosure, it says, has there been any damage from ice dams? So if you have an ice dam, not necessarily, but you're going to want to see, have you had damage from that ice dam? So if the answer is no, there's nothing to disclose. If the answer is yes, you want to disclose that you had water intrusion from the ice dam. You want to disclose what you did to correct the situation, which would be steaming off the ice dam, maybe bringing in dry insulation in the attic, repairing sheetrock, things like that. That way people know that you just didn't remove the ice dam and then not do anything further. You want to explain fully what you did, and really that's to A, be proactive for yourself, and B, protect yourself going forward, that you're properly disclosing the work you did.
All right, fantastic. So make sure you check carefully, because it has been a very, very harsh winter in that aspect. Part 2 coming up, okay, Jameson?
Sounds good.
All right. This is Get Real with Real Estate. Jack Colwell with you, Jameson Melbye with RE/MAX Results here on KWNG 106. On this Saturday, we are back with Part 2 in just a moment.
All right. Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
And Part 2 on the way, my friend.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Ready to fire. We're back here now. It's Part 2 of Get Real with Real Estate here on KWNG 106. First show for March of 2019. Action Jack Colwell with you. Back with me is Jameson Melbye. Okay, Part 2 of the show, Jameson. We are ready to rock. Let's talk about the market. How is the market looking for home buyers at this time of year? Give us your take.
Well, traditionally the market would still be a little bit slower right now as it was the last couple months in the winter. But like I said earlier in the show, houses are selling pretty quick. So when a new house comes on the market, if it's in your price range, it really is in your best interest to go take a look at the house right away as soon as you possibly can and make a decision if that is a house for you, yes or no. If it's not a good fit for you, just keep watching the market. But like I said, we're seeing houses go on the market, and that day they're receiving offers, the next day they're receiving offers, as long as they're priced appropriately, of course. So you really don't want to delay on these. And one thing we say is that if you look at a house today and you're going to take a day to sleep on it, somebody may have had that same thought process yesterday, and they might make an offer and get that house. So if it's a good fit for you, the way the market has been, you just want to be decisive and get an offer in on that house.
Well, Jameson, every person would like to find that just right home. So do you have any tips for finding the right home?
Certainly. We've talked about this before. The biggest thing you can possibly do is get pre-approved for a mortgage before you ever start looking at houses. The last thing you want to do is look at houses in person, find the right house, and then find out it's going to take you a couple days to get your pre-approval. Maybe you have things to fix on your credit, so it's not a good deal when you find that dream house and then you get beat out because you weren't prepared. So get pre-approved and then start looking at houses.
All right. I know it's been a little while since we've talked about this specifically, but remind our audience again, how much does it cost to buy a home? Because I think it can kind of vary a little bit.
Well, yeah, definitely. There's a big misconception how much money it costs. So people oftentimes think you have to have a 20% down payment. You have to have money for closing costs, things like that, to buy a house. And that just simply isn't true. Anywhere in the state, if you have a VA loan, you can do a zero down VA loan, so that's for veterans. When you're in the more rural areas like Prescott, Ellsworth, Hager City, Red Wing, Cannon Falls, Embroda, Lake City, we all have access to the zero down USDA loan that's out there. It's zero down for first time home buyers. So if you're putting down $1,000 earnest money, $500 for an appraisal, you have $350 for home inspection, $150 for a radon test. That's $2,000. That's all you need out of pocket if you're doing a zero down loan to buy a house. Oftentimes we can have the seller pay your closing costs, and they're not giving you anything for free. It's just a way that you can finance those closing costs. So if you're going to go rent a house for $1,000 in Red Wing, you're going to put down $1,000 for the first month's rent, $1,000 deposit. You might as well buy a house at that point, just plain and simple.
Very good. And if I make an offer now, and I know people are always anxious to make an offer, and maybe it's accepted, people are anxious to get into that new home, but if I make an offer now, when can I close on my home?
Well, it kind of reminds me of my first ever real estate transaction about 12 years ago. I put the transaction together. I gave the paperwork to my boss. I was pretty excited about it. I said, all right, when do I get paid? And the question is, when does the house close? And I said, well, it closes in a month and a half. He smiled and said, that's when you get paid. And
funny how that works.
Yeah, so I was pretty devastated that it takes that long. But we're looking at 30 days to 45 days on average for a house to close. So if you write an offer today, unless you're paying cash, that's how long it's going to take. If you are fortunate enough to have cash, you can close in about 2 weeks, maybe a little bit sooner, but we're looking at 30 to 45 days from when you have the contract accepted to when you can actually close and then move in the house.
Sounds great, Jameson. If folks want more information, tell us how they can get in touch with you.
All right, so remember, if you hear this on the radio, we record this on Facebook Live. You can find those videos, homes for sale, things like that on RE/MAX Results, Jameson Melbye Real Estate on Facebook. You can find me on the web at jamesonmelbye.com, and my cell phone number, 651-764-8933.
Sounds great, Jameson. You know, next Saturday when we do the show, I'm told it's going to be 80 degrees. Unfortunately, not here.
Not here.
So,
I was going to say, I haven't seen that.
Maybe where the Twins are in Fort Myers,
yes,
but not here. One of these days it will, but it won't be anytime soon.
So does KWNG provide a trip to Fort Myers for any radio personalities?
Well, I wish. I think they should send you and I there. I mean, we could team up, and provide spring training reports at just a fraction of the cost it might be to get in, like some big guys from the Twins.
Yeah, and I think those guys would like to learn how to buy and sell a house, right?
Course.
So this would be a great value to them.
There we go.
Yeah,
All right,
we'll work on
so
that.
That's right. And we'll give you an update next week. Thanks again,
All right.
Jameson. Have a good week.
You too.
All right, folks. That's just food for thought there. Why not? All right, that's it for Get Real with Real Estate this week here on KWNG 106. For Jameson Melbye, I'm Action Jack Colwell. We'll see you next Saturday. And no, it won't be 80 degrees next Saturday. Thanks
Definitely not.
again.